Hey. Hello, it is Market Like It's 1991. Hooray! I'm Amber. Hello. Hooray. So, this is a workshop that's about marketing without social media, the things you can do. We touch a little bit on copy, a little bit on some copy techniques that are also super helpful that I think are easy to ignore when we're only focused on social media, though they work with anything. And we're also going to talk about the system I used to grow my business and how you can use it too. So, that system again is using stuff that is without social media and aimed at a little bit more of a slightly old school approach, and that we're not doing shit every fucking day. Because listen, I'm not against social media per se. I've been on social media more the last year because I would love to figure it out. But I have built up my whole business without it. And I think some of the things, especially if you are a creative person or a neurospicy person, some of the stuff about social media is extra hard because we didn't make a business so that we would wonder on a fucking Sunday if we have enough footage for a reel. I don't think that's why any of us wanted to start this stuff. So this also allows you to still be putting out marketing, getting your audience, making money, but get to do it on a pace that works with you and is also more flexible with life. Because I don't know about you guys, but I have different energy all the time. Some weeks a lot, some weeks not very much. So the social media schedule is extra hard for me. So I've developed stuff that I use to, be able to still work and make money and do well and not shed a tear when my carousels do poorly. So you'll learn a new way of marketing by the end of this workshop. It's going to be about an hour long. I will stay over for questions, and we will do a little writing exercise. So if you want to have a pen and paper, if you want to write on your phone, if you want to write in the text box, whatever. Also, you're an adult. So if your kids are around, or cats, or dogs, or a penguin came to mind, if you have a penguin, please show it. That is very unusual, but that's fine. You're an adult. You can pay attention. You can do two things at once. You're going to be fine. So, I don't know. Remember, you're an adult. Now, who am I? You don't know me necessarily. I'm Amber Petty. Hello. I launched my course in 2021, my first big course, and I've made about $150,000 every year, sometimes more, sometimes a little less. I've grown my newsletter actually to about 14,000 subscribers, but I just got rid of 3,000 of them because they weren't opening anything. So I've got 11,000 subscribers, which I'm still quite happy about. I've helped hundreds of students get bylines in newspapers, start newsletters, grow creative careers, market their business, find people to help them, all that kind of stuff. And I came from a musical theater improv background, which I say just because I didn't start, I was not like a marketing savant. I hated it so much. The idea of having to promote my stuff was the worst in my mind. And so when I thought marketing was just horrible and I hate it, oh, it's a sellout or whatever, I had to work 3 to 5 jobs at all times. I did shows to one person in the audience multiple times. And I wondered why I wasn't getting the attention I wanted. And when I opened my business and was like, oh, marketing can actually just be an extension of what I do, and it's also not evil and horrible. And in fact, wait a minute, me as a human isn't a bother, and what I do is actually helpful. Once I embraced all that stuff, then I had a business that made 6 figures in the first year. So I know sometimes marketing is not your favorite thing, and that's fine. But with this, in addition to ways outside of social media, it's also just reframing it so it doesn't have to be this thing you constantly hate. I also did all this with depression. I switched careers and started a business during two different depressive episodes. And I share that just because even if you don't have a lot of energy, if you have a chronic illness, if you also have mood disorders like I do, this is still stuff you can do because it's not based on constantly churning shit out. I also shared this picture because marketing gets to be whatever you want it to be. I decided to do a little shoot in my backyard, like Carrie covered in blood from the end of the movie Carrie. And I did. And I got to use it to promote my business. So that's what I shared. That's the kind of shit I get to do all the time to do marketing. And it's a little creative project on its own. And that's what you guys can do too. For people that have worked with me, say things like, I created my first digital product in 10 years. I have 40 new subscribers, a newsletter, and my blog has regular updates for the first time in forever. And that was in 4 weeks' time. So before we kick it old school, before we get into the actual stuff, a couple things. If you have a question at any time, feel free to put it in the chat. If you want to say something or or joke around or whatever, you can totally do that in the chat. So feel free. I may not get to your questions immediately, but I will make sure I get to your questions by the end. Also, for some of you, some of this will be a little bit of a reminder, a little bit of a recap of stuff you know. But the reason I'm still asking you to listen is sometimes these going back to the basics a little bit are easy to forget, whether you've just started or whether you've been in business a while. And going back to some of these basics are a good reminder. I have to do it all the time. So if something feels a little basic to you, no, we're going to move on to something else. But it's also still good to listen and really ask, am I actually doing that in my business? And if you aren't, it's a wonderful thing to incorporate. But I want to do a couple of myths about marketing before we begin. These are great to dispel because usually this is the stuff you hate that makes you unhappy. So let us get rid of it. So one is social media is marketing. This is the biggest fun of marketing, like it's 1991, is social media was not around then. People still had successful businesses. Today, the brand Lush that sells organic soaps and lotions and things like that, very successful brand. They are not on social media. A school called the Life Coach School. I can't remember the woman's name, but she's it's a huge moneymaker, not on social media. Me, I was barely on social media when I started, and I've had maybe 50 signups through organic social media to my emails, and this is before I ever even started Facebook ads and stuff. I got 9,000 subscribers through unlikely ads, swaps, going into groups, stuff like that. And because I had that list, that is where I've made all of my money. I've made maybe $3,000 in 5 years. From social media, I've made almost $900,000 in 5 years from email. So email is still the best driver. And then how do we get people on our email list? Well, that's what we're going to talk about. But social media is not your best tool because social media sells way worse. So even Forbes says for every dollar you spend with email, you get $36 back. It has that kind of return. For social media, it's like 1 to 2. I mean, it's nothing. And we've seen this where we've seen big people have huge social media followings and then jack shit for sales. That happens all the time because when somebody's following you on social media, they are not paying attention to you the same way as when they are reading an email. They've chosen to hear from you. They are choosing to open it. And so they're going to spend more time. That's why you develop a better audience, a better relationship, and better sales through email. Because then at social media, half the time, your content only about 6 to 10% on a good day. That's the percentage of the audience that's seeing you, 6 to 10%. With email, for you guys, like if you're earlier in email, 50 to 60% are going to see you. If you have a bigger list, then 30 to 50% are going to see you. So it's just 1,000 times better. The other reason I love email is you can email once a week. You could email twice a week if you want to. You can email more. You could email a little bit less, but it is not every day. And there's no algorithm to deal with. So that's a thing with, that's a thing with social media. The other thing is social media, remember gang, remember Twitter? Yeah, so many people that had, my husband had 11,000 followers and they're just gone because they're not on Twitter anymore. And he's now not on Twitter anymore. Gone because the platform was ruined. TikTok, I was wearing something kind of like this, like similar. And I got restricted from lives for a day because of nudity. Okay, I mean, I know that I am that appealing. Probably any hint of my skin is just so arousing. I mean, but what am I supposed to do about that? Appealed for nudity. I mean, stopped for nudity in a live. So we have all known people or been a person whose social media account got erased. And that's what happens when your whole shit is on social media. So I'm going into this so much because social media is a lottery ticket, you know? You keep doing it because there is a chance it could go so big so quickly. But also, no financial advisor would tell you, yeah, the best thing to do is buy a lottery ticket every day. Nobody would say that. Nobody. So that's what social media feels like. Whereas email is maybe more like a high yield savings account, which isn't as sexy and fun. It doesn't give you the instant dopamine. It doesn't have the chance of being viral instantly, but it's giving you a return for doing very little. So that's why I harp on this so much, because even if your social media presence is huge, it is just not, it's an unsafe idea to bet all your stuff there. Do not put all your eggs in the social media basket because it can just disappear. With email, it can't. You keep your email subscribers. So even with Substack, if Substack imploded, you would still get your email subscribers. You'd still have your audience. And so that's what matters the most. Myth number 2, appeal to as many people as possible. It's so hard not to do this on social media because there's an audience of everyone. But of course you don't want to appeal to everybody. That's a great way to be nothing. And believe me, that's how I used to act. And people would just be like, oh, cool, Amber, if they remembered me at all. I was like, kind of cool wallpaper. That was the impression I made. Where at least now, yes, sometimes people say wild things to me, but many people remember. Sometimes simply for my glasses or what I say or what I do. And because of that, I have a business. And I do that by appealing to a specific kind of audience. And you all get to do that too. It doesn't mean you need to have a teeny tiny niche. It doesn't mean anything like that. But if you're like, I don't know if I should swear because some people won't like that, or, oh, but if I say that, then some people aren't going to like that. That's good. If some people don't like it, it means you're saying something that the people that do like it are going to resonate more, and they are going to become a much better audience. Now, of course, I'm not saying like say offensive things. No, but like swearing, I get the most complaints about me swearing, and it's just like, great, don't then unsubscribe or don't follow me. That's okay. There's also people that feel more comfortable because I swear, and you know why I swear? Because I fucking do in life, so I don't care. And that's it. And some people won't like it and they will leave, and that's fine. Some people like it even more. And that's what happens every time you get to say yes to yourself, your more interesting ideas, your creative ideas, your weird ideas. That makes you more specific. It makes you more intriguing to your specific audience, and it helps not feel so trapped in marketing, because really all you're doing is being true to your most creative self. Now, when we appeal to as many people as possible, it usually means we're being vague. So that's where I see a lot of stuff where people say like, I want to, help women find their power. Cool. That's just very broad and very vague. Whereas when you get specific with what you do, that is going to hit home. So I have an example of that. So this was from Laura, and this is, honestly, if there's one thing you remember from this class, I know it's not a method of marketing yet, but if there's one thing you remember from this class, it's this. This stuff changes people's marketing immediately on any platform, these kind of specifics. So Laura is a career coach helping women, usually coming back after having a kid, either get back into the workforce or get a better position after coming back. So she said, tired of asking yourself what's next for my career? Stop second guessing yourself and start landing job offers that excite you and fit the life you envy. You're a midlife professional pivoting careers or a parent returning from a career break, and you're ready for something that supports your life, not consumes it, but don't know how to get there. This program is for you. With one-on-one guidance from someone who's been in your shoes and successfully bridged the gap, you'll see what's possible and feel how good life can be on the other side. So this is not bad. This does give me a specific idea of what this is and who the person is that it's for. But this was getting 0 sales for her course. Then we made it more specific. You've already had the world's most demanding boss. What other job requires being on call 24/7, getting screamed at over a diagonally cut sandwich and literally getting shit on. Yet when you find yourself ready to return to work, you question everything, your skills, relevancy, value, wondering if you have what it takes to be successful. You do. Your unique experience, skills, and abilities are an asset. Package them right, own your narrative, and connect with the right people. And that's when you start getting noticed, landing interviews and scoring job offers. And I'm here to show you how. So if you're looking to return to the paid workforce, because let's be clear, parenting is 100% work, after your career break or looking to pivot into something new, you're in the right place. So now she is very much talking to parents, and this creates an image in your mind. So if you're a parent, even if you haven't been screamed at over a diagonally cut sandwich, you'll immediately go, oh my God, but I remember when my kid freaked out because I peeled the banana before he could. Or they're like, oh yes, I remember the day I got pooped on 5 times and couldn't understand. It just immediately puts you in that feeling of, oh, Laura, this person writing, she understands me and I feel this moment. And then it helps, but then when you return to work, you question everything. Again, it puts the reader in that specific place. So now they feel very seen. They feel like, yes, I get it. Now she's also saying, you've already had the world's most demanding boss and a career's going to be hard? No. So she's already empowering, which is not a word I like to use, but she's already like, hey, you're already doing better than you think. She's already giving people confidence simply in the sales page. So that's the other thing with sales, where even if somebody was like, didn't buy this, it helps them shift from, oh God, I've got a gap and this is going to be a problem, that's going to be a problem. Even if they don't buy this, they get to take a second and go, oh yeah, all of this has only prepared me to be 1,000 times better at what I do. And even if they just take that shift and move on with their day, that's something helpful to them. So when we have sales stuff, we are getting to do that whether people buy or not. So it's not manipulative. It's not, you need this or you're going to be a failure. It's, hey, I see who you are. I understand you and have been there. And this is how you can, and I know what you want, and this is how you can get what you want. And that's it. Not forcing anybody. And when Laura changed her copy to this, she got a new sale immediately. So this is like an $800, I don't know how many sales she's gotten since then, probably a bunch, but that's like an $800 difference just right there. So I know this is a little bit of a sidebar, but specifics is like the number one thing. So this is like, yeah, this is more general. This is for a much more specific audience, but now that audience is like, I need this. Oh, you get me so well, I want it now. Whereas this one is just, okay, maybe. So that's a thing you get to do in your marketing across the board, is get to be this fun and specific. Awesome. Copy rules, super quick. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one, but these are just other things to keep in mind for copy. And again, this is for all the stuff we're going to talk about in a second. Instead of just focusing on I, focus on you, meaning instead of I'm giving you, or I created a program where you blah, 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 just cut to you get this. We're talking to the reader. Think about adding befores and afters. They don't have to be literally before and after, but think about where is your client before and where do they want to be before and after. Emotional stakes, even just painting this picture of childhood, it adds like that real life emotion to it. which helps and paint the picture of possibilities. That just means this, hey, your experience and skills are a must. And when you package them right, look, you can get interviews and job offers and get back to the paid workforce. That's a really simple one, but it is like, this is what's possible when you do my thing, when you have my product. Fantastic. So last myth, you have to follow the marketing rules. Even with me, there's no real rule other than you need to give people a chance to see what you do and buy what you sell. So however you do that is fine. There's no one way to do it, and there is no golden ticket. So if you're doing one thing and then somebody's like, well, yeah, but TikTok is good and you should probably be on TikTok. Well, if you do that just out of obligation, it's going to feel like shit. It's going to be hard. You've added twice as much work for yourself to do, and you usually don't get that good of a return. Yeah, TikTok can be good, but if you hate it and you're doing good with something else, or you haven't found what works great yet, but you don't like the idea of doing those kind of videos, don't do them. As long as you are still reaching people, and we're going to talk about ways next, reaching people and giving them a chance to know what you do and buy what you sell, that is all that matters. That's all marketing is. The rest is just some structure people have used that helps them, just like mine. It doesn't mean you have to do what I say, but if it's helpful to you, it'll be really helpful. If it's not, please don't use it. And so marketers like to be dramatic because it gets attention, but there is not one way to do anything, because you will see email is dead, and then you'll see social media is dead, and then you'll say TikTok is dead, and then you'll say, whatever. It's dead for somebody, it's making millions of dollars for somebody else. So those rules in your head were like, but I have to do this. Let those go, which is very hard. And think, how can I reach somebody else to let them know what I do and how they can buy it? That's the only actual rule. And the rest you just get to experiment with and try. Because I have done people's perfect formulas. They will do not shit for me. I'll do somebody else's formula. Oh my God, it works. I'm not an asshole. That's just life. And so that's the same with you. Also, a lot of these marketing rules are made for businesses that are not creative. So they don't have the imagination and passion and all the wonderful things you have. So they've got to manufacture that. And those rules are ways to do it. You're already good at all that shit. You're already good at storytelling and relating to people and being human. So half the time when we try to fit those rules, we're just fitting rules that were never made for us in the first place. So even if it's just for the rest of today, and again, my shit is not rules. It's just a system and guidance if it's helpful to you. Let go of those rules and just think, how can somebody new see my stuff? How can I give them an opportunity to buy? And we'll see some ways to do that right there. Oh yeah, the fourth, and again, copy rules I have in quotes, because again, they're not always true. They tend to be helpful. But yeah, the fourth was paint the possibilities. So what, after they work with you or get your thing, what can happen? Give them a little picture of that. Delightful. Most rules would not say, hey, write a sales email in the form of a sonnet. Well, my client Jess did that. Her sales email was a sonnet, and she sold 10 custom sonnets from that one email. I was inspired by her, and in my last launch, I did like a Dr. Seuss poem. And on social media, it didn't really do anything. In my email, and it was just a little Dr. Seuss style poem story for my class. And it's not about poetry or rhymes. And that sold the best of all my emails. Does that make any sense? No. But it makes sense for us because using your creativity is what actually gets people's attention. So how to market like it's 1991. So how do we actually do this shit? How do we actually get people to see our stuff if we're not on social media? Well, I'm so glad you asked. So we have emails, ads, and connecting. These are the three kind of pieces of it for me. Email. Now, first, I'm just talking about ways to get people on your email list. For me, and what I think for almost all businesses, is the email list should be your home base. That's where people can keep in touch with you. You can still have a website, a shop, all that kind of stuff, but how people keep in touch is your email. A YouTube channel can also work for this. It does retain people, but email is the best. Now, if you disagree, disagree. There are people that don't have email lists and are successful, but this is my jam, so that's how I'm focusing on it just for this. So how do I get people on my email list? Well, first things first, and this also goes for sales. How do I sell something? How do I get customers? How do I get clients? How do I get people on my list? First, email your friends. Tell them you have something. Say, would you like to buy it? Or, I have this email list. Would you sign up for it? This sounds so basic. It's dumb, right? But this is a good way to just get some people interested. You're letting people know what happens, and it's very low stakes. And if you're like, I don't have any friends that would like what I do, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. You might not have any friends in your real life, your neighborhood, but you don't know anybody that would at all like what you do. Because if that's true, you should really question your business. So think about that. And again, you could just ask them to sign up for your email list. It's free. I started my business with that. I had a free workshop. I emailed it to my friends. And was I kind of embarrassed? Yes. Because I was like, hey, I had some friends. One friend was talking to me about how she was just at Clint Eastwood's pool because it was after making a movie that Clint Eastwood directed, right? And I'm like, here's my free workshop on side jobs. But I did it anyway. And people signed up. And I got started. And if I'm doing something new, I will still go back and do this. Now, this one is easier. Ask your friends to share. And ask your friends to share specifically. So that's where you can go, hey, I started this thing, or I have this email list. Do you know anybody who blank? So if you have a consulting business and you work with engineers, let's just say, you never know. So you can ask your friends, hey, I'm doing this thing for engineers. Do you have any friends who are engineers, or people you know who are engineers or might be interested in this or that kind of thing? Because you'll be surprised how they'll be like, oh yeah, my sister-in-law actually does that. Oh, I'll share it with her. Now we've already branched outside of our personal circle and potentially get out there. So be specific with how you want them to share. So that, because if you just go, will you share this? Then the person has to think of, well, who do I know and what do I do? And blah. Whereas if you go, oh, do you know anybody who likes kind of like reading a lot or likes cozy mysteries? Then they will probably immediately think of somebody or something. Or if you want them to share on social media, say that. Hey, could you share this to your Instagram stories? And give them the thing you want to share. It makes it easy. And now you've already expanded your audience, sometimes in a huge way. That alone can start getting you people who are very interested in what you do. And again, even if you've been going a long time, still do this. Maybe you have friends with bigger audiences, ask them to share. Or do a swap, which we'll talk about. Ask your sort of friends to share. This is a great one for people who maybe aren't your best friends, but you know them. Ask them to share. All you're doing is they're sharing a free thing or a product you know is good. It's not a big ask. And of course, you're going to share something of theirs if they want you to. So starting with this kind of stuff, this is marketing. And it's one email. It's an email or a DM. And especially if you have days where you don't have energy or a lot to do, you can email one person and say, hey, could you share this? And that could be a thing that leads to nobody. It could lead to multiple clients. I had someone come into a free webinar. She shared it with her class, her own class, and 6 people signed up for my class. So that ended up being wow, math is terrible, but that was like over $3,000 from a person just sharing. So that's how helpful this can be, even though it's so small. I know. It sounds almost too easy. Good. All of business is so hard. We have so much stuff to do. Isn't it cool that sometimes you could just go, fuck it, I'll just text somebody. That's that, and it's literally helping your business. Now, other emails. Now I'm saying email of just like literally you're just going into your Google Gmail and you're sending something to somebody. So this is not posting publicly. We had our like ask to people we know. Now, big swing emails are something you can do. These are fun. This is where you do something almost like impossible. So you reach out to somebody really big. For example, I did this. I emailed George R.R. Martin to say, I can help you write faster. Did I hear back from George? No. But the reason why it was fun is as I first thought about it, I was like, I don't know if I could even do that. And oh, what's going to happen? Blah, blah, blah. After I sent the email, I was like, I would absolutely help him write faster. I was convinced of it. And then other emails, promo stuff I sent felt way easier because I'd already done such an extreme one. And occasionally people will get those extreme ones. So this is a fun one of just like, what's a dream person you'd like to work with? Or what's a big podcast you'd want to be on? Or just something that feels like almost totally unlikely. Swing for that, because then everything else becomes easier and there's nothing at stake really, but it helps get you through that natural fear that we're all going to have. Pitch to podcasts. Pitch yourself as a guest to podcasts. Some people think podcasts are super like hard to get onto. And yes, if you're going to like, am I getting on Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend? That would be a big swing email, right? That's unlikely. But there are so many podcasts and you never know what their audience is. I was on a podcast that just talked about TV shows. I talked about an episode of Bewitched, and I ended up getting a client from that. Totally, I don't teach about the TV show Bewitched, totally different, but they found me on that podcast and it was free to do and fun. So pitch yourself as a guest to podcasts. Let them know something you would like to talk about, a little bit about you, and that's kind of all you need to do. So that can be a really good one where then you're heard by a completely different audience. A personal story pitch, you can pitch to places like Huffington Post and Business Insider with personal essays that are short. And then you are on Business Insider, you are on Huffington Post. One client wrote a few for Business Insider. It went big there. Then she was also picked up and featured in a 3-minute feature on the Seattle local news station that was all about her business. So she got more clients, more subscribers, more everything from a story she got paid to write and then free coverage on the news. Does that happen every time? No, of course not. But these are cool because you get paid to publicize yourself, which is fun. And it's also then a way to just reach this totally different audience. And all you had to do was write the pitch and then write the story. And it goes out from there. You're not making something new every day. So those are tasks to get people on your email list. So that's where you're just sending a personal email out to all these other things. Then the last email task you want to do is this is where you want to go on Kit, Substack, MailerLite, Flowdesk, whatever you have. And you want to email the list itself once a week. This way, it now feels more like a community. Email does not function like social media because there's no algorithms. But if you disappear, people just don't remember you. So emailing once a week makes sure that they remember you, they know what you do, they see, they can buy stuff, they see your expertise, all that kind of thing. It builds that community for you, and you can sell every single time if you want to. You could sell not every single time, whatever. But an email also is like a note to a friend. It's not, you don't have to make a perfect fucking hook and this and that. It's like you get to tell a story. You get to share a tip. You get to talk about something that happened with a client. You get to just show off what you have. It's fun. You can write a Dr. Seuss style poem. Email is way more fluid and simple. You could have an email that's one sentence. You could have an email that's 2,000 words. It's just flexible and it's once a week. And you can email more during a sales period, of course, which I recommend, but you don't have to do that all the time. So those are all these things like these. Maybe they take 30 minutes to an hour, possibly closer to 30 minutes after you've, done some. These take minutes. So that's stuff you can add very easily. And you don't have to check if it has likes. Ads. So it's not just meta ads, local newspaper ads. These are great. We forget local newspapers exist, but they still have a readership. So especially if you have a local business or an event or something like that, place ads for that. They're usually affordable as well. So local ads are not to be dismissed. Newsletter ads. I started just by placing ads in other people's newsletters. That was the biggest way I grew my business. So I found newsletters or email lists that had an audience that was at least somewhat close to mine. Hold on one second. And then I would pay and have an ad. There you go. Some have ads labeled really clearly. Others don't. They don't advertise them, but you just ask, like, hey, do you have ads for your newsletter? Do you have ads for your emails? Just ask. You're offering to pay, so it's a very easy ask. And if they say no, they say no. But you basically said, can I give you money? So it's not rude to ask. Podcast ads. There are platforms where you can officially, you can go on Acast and do a podcast ad. I also did this though, just with, I did this just for one podcast, but a podcast I was a listener of, a private independent podcast, asked them about it. They let me place ads and I got a number of sales and people coming from that. So, and it was not, now podcast ads range in price dramatically. Some can be very expensive, but some aren't. So especially if you reach out to the creators individually, then one thing that's cool is they get 100% of the money, just flat fee of whatever you're paying. And it tends to be a little more affordable, not in a way that's ripping them off, because if they've got the really expensive ads, good for them. They'll direct you to that and you can get them or not get them. But reaching out to podcasters directly sometimes is a way that you can support them in a really cool way, where maybe they haven't thought they could have ads yet or whatever, and you get access to their audience. And then there's meta ads. So I only started meta ads this past year. Meta being Facebook and Instagram ads. I had no fucking success with them before, but now they are better. I don't recommend doing meta ads if you're just starting, unless you're really interested in it. No, you're probably going to lose some money. That's just kind of what happens. But they are functioning again. I feel like for a while meta ads were just like no good, and now they've been helpful. A big key for this one, I find video performs better than a photo or an image, and really let yourself be weird. I'm going to talk about what I mean by weird in a second. Let this be you. My ads that have done well, camera work is not outstanding. Some you can see I've got sweat on my upper lip still, my hair. What's happening? Yet the ads did well because I sounded like a real person talking to somebody. And that's so rare nowadays that alone really helps you stand out. So yeah, I won't get into all the bells and whistles of it, but I have seen video ads that go to freebies, but also sometimes products under $111 is the most expensive product I've done straight with an ad. That can also work. So those are working again. Then the last section, so we had email, that's where we're reaching out to individual people or we're pitching ourselves to podcasts. Then we have ads where we're placing an ad. There we go. And then connect tasks. These are kind of in between, but where you are just connecting with somebody. And these can lead to long-lasting relationships. They can lead to a one-time thing, but they all help grow your stuff. Promo swaps. This is a great one to do. If there's somebody that has a complementary audience to you, ask if you can do a promo swap. I will promote something of yours. You promote something of mine. These, even when you have a small audience, it's worth asking. Yep, some people will say no, but others won't. And then you just have a free ad. Yay. Collab requests. If you see somebody that's doing something cool, see if you could do something with them. Could you co-host an event, even just a Zoom event? Could you maybe do a host a giveaway for them on your stuff and maybe they do something for you? You don't have to come up with a whole huge idea, but even reaching out, saying what you appreciate them and how you might like to do something that's mutually beneficial, that's delightful. And again, some people are going to say no, but not everybody's going to say no. And now you're working with another person, so it's not as hard. You're both using your audience, so you get to do something that feels a little more fun and human. Groups on the ground. This is just what I mean by groups. So sometimes instead of thinking, how am I going to reach everybody with social media, who do you want to reach? So if you have something for like Laura with moms in career groups, she can ask her friends, like, are you in any mom groups? I have this free thing for them, or I have this newsletter. Would you mind sharing it with them? Great. Probably she's going to get a number of people interested from that mom's group. If you're in a book club or have something that would be good for a book club, you can ask around for people to share in those groups. So thinking of groups that already exist, this can be online or in person, and ooh, how could I get something in front of them? Maybe I could do a little workshop for them. Maybe I could give them this freebie. Maybe just thinking of, ooh, how could I reach those people directly? Because those aren't going to give you millions of followers, but you're reaching a very warm audience. So often that leads to sales more quickly than just a bunch of social media posts. And then this one is compliments to cash. I also call it nice networking. In my newsletter, complimented a book I had read that I really liked. And then that author was like, oh, hey, somebody said you shared it. That was so nice. We started talking. I took some of her courses. She took some of mine. I've been an affiliate for her. She's been an affiliate for me. She introduced me to Laura Belgray, who did a private session with me, paid me for that. She's a very huge copywriter and best-selling author. She advertised me on her newsletter. Like, all that ends up being at least $10,000, all from a compliment. And I've had this happen a few times. So it's not immediate, but say the things you like, compliment people you like, recommend things you just literally enjoy. And that just opens the door for conversation with all kinds of different people. And what's nice about it is the worst thing it does is just make somebody else feel good. The best thing it does is lead to a relationship that's super helpful for you both. So I feel so much marketing is based on negativity and like, this is wrong and that's wrong and this is bad. You know, we feel like it all has to be so fucking manipulative and awful. And that's what we see on social media a lot. Whereas even just this, being nice, recommending things I already like, showing kindness has helped my business immeasurably. And it reminds me, you can have a business that's great and not be an asshole. You can be nice, you can help other people, support other people. It all helps everybody in the room that we want to work with. So this is a tiny thing. And again, it's not like it leads to instant stuff, but it can go a long way and it's just a fucking nice thing to do. So this is another very good low energy task of like, oh, fuck, I have no energy, blah, blah, blah. All right, go review a book you really liked. Put it in your newsletter. If you saw somebody do something you thought was cool, tell them. Maybe send them a DM, send them an email, or even just comment on their post if you're on social media. These little things help. And again, it's letting them become aware of you. They may not remember you immediately, but now they're a little bit aware of you and aware of you not even as just like a fan, but as a peer who appreciates their work. So that is a very nice one to do. So I put all this together. The way that I've done it is, or how I've made this manageable, because still we have lots of things we could do, right? We could do all of these, all of these, all of these, right? And that can get super overwhelming at times. And it has for me in the past. So how I kind of put it together for myself is what I call the weirdness way. And that's just how I've structured it a little bit and how I've kept creativity at the forefront. So I use these non-social media tools, but then how I structure it and how I keep my voice weird is through this weirdness way. So real quick, when I say weirdness, I don't mean wacky, I just mean your most unique creative spark. I'm gonna bet most people in here have been made fun of at some point in their life. I certainly have. And that happens because you stand out from the crowd naturally. But at certain times in your life, people couldn't handle that, and so they made it a problem. And so we think, oh, okay, well, I've got to hide that because I don't want people making fun of me. Whereas on the internet, all we want to do is stand out. That's the whole point, and not fit in. None of you want to be another coach wearing beige in like a hat, like pretending to be at their fucking computer at the beach. Like, nobody wants that. You don't want it. No, fucking nobody wants that anymore. You want to be what's interesting about you. And to me, the word weird hits that immediately. Because I could say, be you, be yourself, be authentic. But be myself, I've got a lot of selves day to day. So that's not terribly helpful. Just be yourself. My mom used to tell me that a lot. Did not help me in middle school make friends. It just doesn't resonate for me. Be authentic. This is one that's now been so commodified by people being fake authentic that now, like, what does authentic even mean? Does that mean I got to share every fucking part of my life? No. To me, weird triggers that creative brain. So instead of thinking, how am I supposed to do this? If I go, what's the weirdest way I could do it? It immediately engages your creative brain, the spark that is what makes your products, your newsletter, your business wonderful. So instead of making all your wonderful stuff out of your creative brain that you love and love to do, and then going to marketing and going, how should I do this? Let me follow the rules. And we use our just LinkedIn robot brain. Like, that's why marketing sucks. And that's why your marketing isn't as magnetic as the work you do. Whereas for me, that trigger word weird just puts you back in that creative space. It allows you to be the most yourself without feeling like you've got to performatively be authentic. So that's what I mean by weird. And the Weirdness Way is just my system. So it's kind of like the Artist Way for marketing, except you only do stuff 3 times a week instead of every day, because I hate doing stuff every single day. Even as a kid, I was like, I've got to brush my teeth again. The calamity. So this is where we're engaging our creative brain first, not our marketing brain. And by doing that, it makes the task easier, more fun, and faster. So there's only 3 tasks a week. An email, where you email your audience. A connect task, that's where you do any of those things I talk about. You place 1 ad, you give 1 compliment, you email 1 person and ask to share. There you go. And then create. What do you want to do creatively? Okay, let's make that marketing. Now, even if you don't use it for marketing, making a little time every week to create something also just lets that brilliance of you live every week. And it's easier to bring it into your marketing. So again, making your products and making your marketing don't feel so separate. They feel more like extensions of one another. And this might not seem like enough, right? 1 email, 1 task, 1, 30-minute thing where I make something. But I'll tell you, there's lots of times I do a lot more than this. And if you want to grow faster, you would probably want to do more connect tasks than 1. But I've had many weeks where this was all I did. And create was like 5 minutes of creation, and connect was an email or a text, because I did not have the energy, or I had a emergency gallbladder removal, or I had horrible news from my family, or the fucking world was doing its whole thing. And so, yes, I should follow the rules of keep posting every day, keep doing it, keep going, but that was not an option. So instead of bailing like I used to do, I was like, what can I do? What's most important to keep my business in motion? And it was these 3 things. So even if I had a whole month, where I sometimes did, where this was it, that's all I did, then my energy would come back, and then I would do a little bit more of this and a little bit more of this. And my business didn't fall off a cliff. It kept moving. So it's flexible because we don't feel the same every week. There's too much shit in life going on. So if you only did this consistently, that is 1,000 times better than going off and making a million reels and then fucking hating it and quitting for another month. So this kept my business going through depression, surgeries, all kinds of shit. And it's done the same for clients as well. So it's simplifying it, giving you options that aren't social media, and making sure that creativity is always a part of what you do, even if it is 5 minutes. And then for the connect tasks, what do? We pick one of those things I talked about off the marketing menu. You could just pick one. One week you could, this last week, I was in bed so much because it's too hot and I was too tired. The week before that, I worked multiple 10, 12-hour days. Who fucking knows? But it's fine. It's fine. Everything works and runs with my energy, and you can also adapt that too for the stuff of your own life. And when I say create, it also means you get to do interesting things for your marketing. This musical, I did a musical as a webinar. I just wanted to write a song. That was all I wanted to do. So I was like, how could I make that a part of my business? And then I was like, oh, I could write a song describing how to pitch. I could write a song about this. So I just made a whole musical. That got people, it sold things, and I was excited to do it and share it. I did not draw this, but I was just excited to have somebody draw this idea of you don't need to have a thick skin. You should be a marshmallow, cause burn me and I only get more delicious. Fun. Is this perfect with my branding and shit? No. And some days the fact I could put this on a post or something I was doing made me want to do it and made me want to share. So my excitement came through and my business kept moving. And this was one of the pieces of writing a little Dr. Seussian ballad about my life. Why? Because it was fun. And like I said, as the email, it sold the best of all the emails that time, which I did not expect. So that's where you get to the create part is also, what do I even just want to do? If you're like, oh, I just want to make a sun catcher. Okay, make one. How could that connect to your business? You want to do it for a reason. And then you automatically get to do something that looks different, that stands out, that gets people's attention in a way that just making yourself another reel is not going to do. Now, I also developed prompts to help keep the weirdness in your voice. Because again, when we go to marketing, we just have so much training to be normal or follow the rules that we sometimes need to help it out. So 1 week you'll do the kid version, how with that little kid energy, of look, mom, I made this. How do we get back to that? We get to experiment with that. We get to experiment with the Larry David version, I call it. That's when it's what would I say if I didn't give a shit what anybody thought? How would I just say it? And we get to practice that as part of the Weirdness Way. Specifics, just like I spent all that time on specifics earlier, it's so good. And specifics, if you're what's my voice? How do I bring my voice out? You just get specific. That's it. And you're just basically remembering things. So at first, it's a new skill to learn, but then it makes it way easier and makes your stuff so much better. And then weirdest, that question of what's the weirdest way I could say this, can do so much good. So let's test that out actually. And yeah, let's test that out. Yeah, let's do it real quick. So we're just gonna have 2 minutes. And I want you don't have to worry about writing it normally. We'll just cut to the second one. So just write a little description of something you want to sell. What's a little description of something you want to sell? Maybe something that would be a blurb, a little ad, something like that. You don't have to worry about it too much, but pick one of your offers or products or programs. And then instead of just describing it the average way, I want you to go, what's the weirdest way? What's the weirdest way I could describe this? And you're not going to use this necessarily. So write it like that just as an exercise. Okay, we're going to have 2 minutes to write. Here we go. Okay, that's it. If you want to share that in the chat, feel free. But I want you to look at it. And is it really that weird? Is it like too weird to share? I really doubt it. So if you want to do a little extra thing for today, I would send that description, that weird description, to 2 people and either ask them to sign up for what you have or buy whatever it is, or ask them to share. That's a little dare for you today if you want to try it out for yourself. But either way, writing it the weird way immediately, bare minimum, feels more interesting than writing it the right way. Because I'm telling you, despite all the marketing shit out there, there is not one exact right way to do it. And because you're already creative and interesting, the more weird you are with it, the more likely it's going to be good and reach people and get attention. So that's a lot of ways you can market without social media. That's also how the Weirdness Way works. And you could just adapt it and do it on your own right now. Absolutely. But when your first weird thing doesn't get a huge response or your collaborators aren't coming back, are you going to keep going? Because it's hard to ignore that constant deluge of old marketing businessy bullshit. So it would be nice to not do it alone. And if you don't want to do it alone, do it in the Weirdness Way class. This is my 4-week class. It starts August 4th. And this is where you are growing your audience. And what's cool is, because you're doing these tasks, everybody in the last class had more energy for their own creative work. Because you're engaging your creative brain, it wasn't like, fuck, I've got to spend all my time in marketing and it's taking away. For all of them, it only added to their creative time. So not only did it blow up their email lists, give sellout classes, like all this cool shit, it also gave them more energy for the creative work they love the most. And that was just in 4 weeks. So it takes marketing from screaming, crying, throwing up to I'm energized and just got 40 new subscribers. We have one kickoff call on Tuesday, August 4th. This is where we're setting up, what do you really want? We're also setting up how everything works, but this is a really good one of like, what do you actually want to do? What do you actually want to focus on? What actually interests you? A question that's easy to ignore. You also immediately get access to the whole pre-recorded part of the class. So you could watch none of it and wait, or you could watch all of it immediately, whatever works for you. And then we put it together live. We have Thursday live coaching calls. Those are all at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. UK. Those are every week. Then we have Saturday co-working sessions. They're 3-hour calls, which sounds like a lot, but they're broken up into productive pieces. People have gotten so much stuff done. So you could actually do all 3 of your tasks, email, connect, create, just on this Saturday co-working session. So it's made so that we're not putting a lot of extra time into this. We're using a lot of the class time to really hone and make our stuff better. And then the co-working session, you could do everything just in the co-working session. These are optional, of course. You could come to part of it, all of it, whatever works for you, but they are shockingly productive and they fly by. Last time, Weirdness Way, people said she got different collabs, a live one in Chicago, another one online. The Connect task got her speaking opportunities. This was one where she had this project she was working on forever that she just could not finish. And we found a way to like, hey, let's do a little sliver of it. She got 2 applications for it immediately. All stuff that happened. This was like halfway through the class. Now, this class is not for you if you're unwilling to sell. If you're like, sales is horrible, I hate it, it's the worst, then, okay, well, I can't fix that for you. Now, selling's scary, it feels weird, I'm not used to it, oh, I'm hesitant, totally fine. Because then we can work with that, that's fine, and we do purposely work with that. I don't just say, well, just fucking do it, figure it out. No, we work with it to get to, why is it feeling so weird? And then how can we fix that for you so you feel confident putting out the good shit that people are going to love? If you don't have any kind of email list set up, this is not a class for you. You just want to have that set up first. If you're already thinking of all the ways it won't work for you, like, you did it, you're psychic, it won't work if you're already thinking how it won't work. So don't bother. Fun fact, as I said before, I've made maybe let's go 3,000 from social media, and I've made more than 850,000 with email doing the stuff I just talked to you about. That's all stuff I've done myself and clients have done. Beatrice, who is in here, I don't know if she's still in here, she was crazy in the last one. She sold out her first ever in-person workshop. She filled another like online free workshop. She sold spots to another online paid workshop. That was in 4 weeks. And since then, she's done even more. And we get 4 weeks of a Telegram community for accountability and coaching. So Telegram is a voice and text app. So we have that so you can ask questions in between. If you can't make all the calls, you can get some coaching there. You also get to connect with people and do some of those things. Pitch some collabs, pitch some promo swaps, work together. You get answers, 12/6, I like to say, because I tend to not work that much on Sundays and I do have to eat and sleep. So it's not 24/7, but you get 12/6 out of me for sure. And so the thing with this class too is it's not, this live version especially, it is not about, hey, just learn it, think about it, let's go. No, this is like, we are doing it. I've distilled it down to something you can literally do. If you are conscious, you can do this stuff every week, and it builds such momentum for you. So it's not just learning it, it is fucking doing it and making sure that your version of it is working for you so that it is adapting into how it's going to work for you, not just because I said so. I mean, I've spent over $10,000 on improv classes, so we all make different choices. This is not $10,000. It's 4 weeks and it's $444 or 3 payments of $150. And you get that, you get a lot of opportunities to ask questions, to get coaching, to make sure that this is working for you. And listen, you might make your money back right away. It might take a while. I don't know. I can't promise money, but if you do it, your audience will grow. If you do it, marketing will feel sustainable and you will not have that, what am I supposed to do question at all. And your weirdness will turn into cash. That's a guarantee. How fast, how much, that I don't know. But it does work to turn on that valve, the cash valve, every single time if you do it. Now, if you sign up today I mean the next 24 hours, you get a free 1-hour call with me. I'm calling it the I Don't Hate Marketing Anymore session, but it's just a 1-hour private coaching call. So this is usually $300. We can work on a sales page. We can look at your messaging and improve it. We can fix whatever marketing thing is pissing you off. We can tackle it. I work very fast. Usually the kind of shit we do in 1 hour, you would do in 3 to 4 to sometimes 10 hours with somebody else. I work very fast and make sure it is tailored to you. This is not me putting any method on you of like, nope, you got to do it my way. Nope, I listen to you and we go, what's going to work for this? So I've got availability. You could do yours next week if you wanted to. So even before the class, you're just like honed in and ready to go. So you get that for free if you sign up in the next 24 hours. So it's at amberpetty.com/way. I'm going to share that with you in a second. It's $444 again to like make marketing sustainable and interesting forever. This can really last because you have all the videos, all that stuff, you keep it forever. So you can always go back to it. And 3 payments of $150. Also, if you ever want to take it again live, you just want the live part, you get to do that half price. So it's not like if you paid for it once, I'm going to make you pay full price if you just want the live part again. You then get half price to all future live rounds. So regardless of what you do today, you can keep thinking about it, but there's magic in doing it. If you share that weird description with one person today, it's going to feel different. You might get a very cool result. So even just that. And then if you want to make sure that you are doing this shit so that August is not a dead month, it's like, oh, actually now I'm 100% ready for the busy fall season, then the Weirdness Way is where to go. So thank you for staying a little bit long. I should not be surprised I went long. 'Tis my way. I'm going to share the link, and then let's get to some and then if you need to leave, absolutely leave, not a problem at all. If you have questions either about the Weirdness Way course or about whatever I've talked about today, I am happy to answer. So we'll love it. Thanks, Megan. Thank you, Beatrice. Have a good day. Okay. I'm going to just go back up real quick. Feel free to put your questions below. I'm just going back up to make sure I see the questions from earlier. Yay, Rachel Zapata. I love that. And then even a little more specific, what might be cool is now you get a chance to just finally be. What does that look like? To finally just be. Now, it might be not for this. It would probably, if it's a shorter kind of thing, then this might be enough. But, and because this is something I feel of sometimes when people are like, what if you could just be instead of do? And that's sometimes I get it intellectually, but I'm so not that way that I'm almost like, what does it look like to just be? What does it look like if my only job is enjoyment? So another way you could, again, maybe for a separate thing, what does it look like where their only job is enjoyment? And that's where you can go, what's a real moment in your life or a client's life where you felt that, where you could paint that picture for them a little bit. But that's great. Like I love that. Jennifer, I weave your marketing story with the seamlessness of drag queen Dory and Corey blending her eyeshadow or Polish deep. Oh, that's fucking specific. Dang. The seamlessness of drag queen Dory and Corey. Oh my goodness. So here's what I love about that specific. You don't have to know who drag queen Dory and Corey is. You get it's a drag queen who does good blending, right? But how often have we heard people compare marketing to drag makeup? Not that many times. And then if you do, you're like, Dory and Corey, oh my God, I haven't heard, it just immediately has a little connection, Yeah, and then for something else later, how does that work? How does that weaving the marketing story kind of work? And then how does that benefit the person? Again, that wouldn't be for this right here. That would be separate. But using some of that same kind of level of fun and specificity to describe how does that matter to you? How does that matter to you, the person whose marketing I'm doing? I mean, that's excellent. Rachel, if you don't already have an email list set up, how long would you say it takes to do that? What's an indicator to join the next round? So, and Rachel, you can, well, actually, Rachel, one thing, so it depends a little bit. If you already have a business, if you already have something, what's not good for the class is when you're just like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to sell. I don't have anything set up for it. That's a little hard because then it's like, what are we marketing? Then it's like, you're not going to get as much out of the class. If you're like, no, I'm doing this. Maybe I have social media. Maybe I have something else, but I just don't have an email list set up. Then Rachel, we could actually do that. If you get that 1 hour session, I could walk you through setting up your email list and setting it up like, the best for you in that one session. And it might take a little bit more than that one session, like work on your own part, but getting it all together, it depends on your tech experience, but it's not huge. So if you're super tech averse, it'll take just a little bit longer, but you guys, if you're like, I know what I'm doing, I know what I want to sell, blah, 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 I just don't have an email list, you could totally just get an email list together today, tomorrow, next week, and join the class. That would be totally fine. And yeah, and I could do that with you if you like. But that's today only, the extra bonus. Ashley's writing exercise. You wrote a book and nobody lined up to buy it. Rude. It turns out books don't sell themselves. You need a good plan. I built one for you. Yay. Even and again, I'm nitpicking here, but already these are Can you already see how all this shit in the comments, I don't mean shit, excuse me, all these great stuff in the comments is like immediately more interesting than most of the fucking stuff we see online? Immediately. You asked yourself one question. So, um, so then like you need a plan. So either in the good news or the you need a plan, maybe like what kind of plan is it? Like a plan for, because sometimes you need a plan is like, oh, is that a huge thing I need? And I know you've built it for them, but just getting a tiny bit more specific there of, and because some people might, I had a plan, but still nobody signed up. I think maybe just in that kind of piece, you could be even more specific with like what makes your plan different. Or like you need a plan that works even if you are, you know, having an ADHD moment where you spent the whole day waiting for a 4 o'clock appointment or something. So something that makes it a little more specific to either who you help or how you do it. And I know that can sound silly in such a short blurb, but it can just make a difference. And again, it's a thing you could do also in a different blurb, but that's great. Awesome. Yeah, good shit, exactly. Delightful. Okay. Any questions? Any other questions? Feel free to come on the microphone if you like. Oh, Beatrice did make her money back. I wanted to say that, but I wasn't sure. I was like, I know she sold so much stuff in the last round, but I didn't want to claim she made all her money back. But she did. Yay. Oh, good. Yes. So much more hope. Oh my gosh, that like makes me feel emotional weirdly. Weirdly, I need to get over that I'm a very emotional person. That is key because it's not just hope. Like, duh. Of course, you've heard, you can do it, follow your dreams. Okay, cool. But it does not matter if every expert on earth is like, you have to do YouTube, Instagram, this and that, and you have to do it every day. If that is not something you're capable of, which is very possible for very smart, hardworking, creative people with fucking lives, and then it doesn't matter what any of that shit is. So again, if you take my class, we just get to go into it deeper. Even if you don't, you are skilled and excellent at what you do and better than most people at what they do. And so it's just finding what will you actually do and what ways will make it easier, not as a cheating way, not because you're looking for a shortcut, because you want this to actually be good and sustainable. And by just breaking it down, and I think by even just incorporating some non-social media methods, it just allows you that little more time to breathe and do it. So your aim can maybe be on less viral growth or huge growth, but it still is on, I am putting myself in front of other people and I'm giving them a chance to buy. And that's going to make a difference. Sometimes really fast, sometimes less fast, but it does work in the end. Yay. Yes, absolutely. The mental health of dental health, I think that's a great tagline. And then I definitely want to know more about that. That's a mental health of dental health. I'm like, wait, what? I didn't think about those being connected at all. And then give us some more specifics. But yeah. And so that, and Joanne said, is that too boring? Because that's what I mean by weird. Everybody's weird is different. I'm wearing a fucking glitter top and a net, you know, and then a weird thing. That's not how you have to be. That's not how you have to be. Like Laura, that one I showed of the career change, that was her weird. It wasn't really like wacky, but it was specific to her. So weird also doesn't mean it has to be crazy or funny. It just means, were you thinking of it with the terms of, ooh, what would be interesting? What connects? Wow, just what's a more fun, interesting way to say this? That's what matters. And sometimes it'll be really serious, you know, but it's still going to do the right thing, which is sound like you and add more creativity. Okay, cool. Oh, yes, thank you. No, thank you. I'm glad I saw that. And yes, thank you, Joanne. Sorry you had to put that in. Okay, any other questions before we go? All right. So you will get a recording of this in a little while. You'll also get reminders. You'll also get the reminder about the bonus and all that jazz. So that will all be there for you. And that's that. So have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a great, great day. And I will see some of you soon. Bye.